My name's Rebecca, I'm from Block News, and today we are talking with Evan from Swytch. Tell us a little bit about your company. I've checked it out, it looks amazing. It's doing revolutionary things with tracking our carbon dioxide and trying to make the world a better place, right?
Yes, and that's our goal. So we created a blockchain solution with a purpose, basically a focus on identifying and valuing and rewarding impact. And from our perspective, working with renewable energy specifically, that's the impact that we're looking to incentivize. From a carbon perspective, it's very exciting because it's a lot of information out there, and we can do a great job in tracking that information.
And how do you track that information? Because I saw you have some sort of system where you kind of leave a app or something.
It's more of a firmware than hardware. So it's a software-based solution that plugs directly into pre-existing infrastructure. I think a lot of blockchain projects now and other projects in general require kind of a rebuilding of the entire infrastructure associated with either financial systems or electricity systems. Whereas from our perspective, we're really focusing on the data layer and the layers of information that already exists, the pre-existing infrastructure, and making it better than it currently is.
Can you give us an example of one of the institutions that you track, for example?
So there's a company in Germany called E2M, which is short for Energy to Market. They're one of the largest aggregators of distributed energy resources, renewable distributed energy resources in both Germany and Austria. And what they're doing is they're taking small level power plants, whether it's micro hydro, solar, or wind, and basically we're working directly with them to leverage the information that's flowing off those devices, whether it's a smart meter or a SCADA system, in basically bringing that into a blockchain environment, and then leveraging the information pathways to move from blockchain, from asset to blockchain and blockchain intra, from storage through oracles and all the way through token allocation. And so it's been an exciting pilot that we've been running since January of this year.
Wow. So how did it start? Where did the vision come from?
So I was working at a private equity company based in the U.S. called Riverstone. It was a portfolio company called Trailstone. And my background has been in energy trading and structured energy derivatives and energy finance. I started my career on Wall Street in the early 2000s. And at Trailstone, we really spent a lot of time trying to understand how new energy economics and new energy systems were going to emerge post kind of financial, post disruption from technology, right? Rather than just focusing on building power plants and trading around power plants. The technology component, the data and data services layer were something that we were really getting excited about. And at the time, I ended up going up to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and meeting with my now co-founder, John Clippinger, and really discussing how we can take transformative technology and blockchain and apply that to energy in general. And then we recognized that there was a huge opportunity to figure out ways to leverage blockchain and energy and then plug in incentive mechanisms and incentive systems to basically figure out ways to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy and reward investments in renewable energy that had the highest impact, both from a carbon perspective as well as impacting the most people. So from our perspective, I mean, we've been working, just in general in the energy markets. We've had about a decade of aggressive investments in renewable technology globally, and right now we only have about 5% of installed capacity from an energy standpoint in renewable energy. So we've seen incredible progress over the last 10 years in removing coal from a lot of energy markets and really investing heavily in either solar or wind. But basically, there's not enough has been done. So from our perspective, our pilot and our blockchain solution and our entire partnership and foundation is still in its early days. Right? We've been working for about a little bit over a year, getting partnerships, securing financing and funding to continue to build out technology and protocols. And basically, from our perspective, we have two very large pilot opportunities, or really partnerships, one with MIT and one with our cities in Korea. And we're seeing that, our roadmap from an implementation standpoint is incredibly long, right? And we have there's a lot of work to do. We've formalized a partnership with Energy Web Foundation, which is a large consortium of energy utilities that have a global footprint and are all looking to adopt blockchain into their current business models. And then working with the AREI, which is the American Renewable Energy Institute, which is really focused on bringing in social impact investors, and other emerging technologies to be able to decarbonize our transportation, decarbonize our electricity grid, and figure out ways to reduce the impact of climate change on our communities, and really figure out ways, new technology, to incorporate kind of a carbon-free future.
So what would the goal look like in 2 to 5 years from now?
I think from our perspective, obviously, as I mentioned, there's a lot of work to do. I think from the perspective of our goal setting, we want to be the de facto standard for governance associated with both incentive systems around climate and climate action, as well as be the data commons associated with the next generation of grid infrastructure. I think that when we look at electricity in general, there's a couple of things that we need to figure out and fix. One of the major ones is obviously disrupting kind of large-scale centralized utilities and centralized power dispatch with more what they call edge-level participation. So that means households talking to households, communities managing their own electricity consumption and generation, and that requires a very robust set of data standards and data commons, we call it, so that we can basically build very smart, intelligent, artificial intelligence and machine learning models to be able to predict, analyze, and then optimize energy consumption and demand and generation on the edge. And so in 2 to 5 years, we hope that we have a very robust, what we call data commons, a high resolution oracle, and multiple members from across the world participating in a marketplace function that reduces carbon and incentive and basically redistributes incentives globally.
So tell us a little bit about your initial capital, how that got going, and what you need for the future to achieve all these goals.
So we did, again, in the spirit of token sales in general, we created a token that operates in our ecosystem as a utility token that basically gives access rights, registration rights, basically reputation, and allows for computational bandwidth from the models that we've generated in our Oracle. But from that perspective, we raised basically via token sale starting in about December of 2017, and we're finishing our token sale in the next couple of weeks. From that perspective, we will be well funded to continue the goals of the foundation, and hope that the community understands what we're doing and wants to adopt the protocols and some of the blockchain open source technology that we've built across multiple instances of different blockchain solutions.
So are you planning on listing the tokens as secondary exchange?
So there's a fair amount of rules and regulations and restrictions associated with commenting on exchange listings. I mean, the token will be both tradable and exchangeable. It will be unlocked. So in the extent that there can be peer-to-peer marketplaces that bring the token into places where they can be transacted and traded, I think that's one of the key innovations of creating digital assets and digital tokens in general. So our token will not be a private token, it will be a public token, and to that extent, exchanges that have the capability of listing ERC20 standard tokens will do so from there.
Okay, and then lastly, let's talk about your management team. Who's on the team? Yeah. Who made it?
Yeah, we have a really interesting and robust group of very smart people from all over I would say all over the map, really all over the landscape. I think we have I think a lot of people talk about surrounding themselves with really, really smart people, and probably smarter than you. So than you being me, or smarter, not being the smartest person in the room.
Right.
From our management team, we have Professor John Clippinger, who is a research scientist at MIT Media Lab, the Cityscope project. We have Andrew Pearsons, who is our director of operations. He's a former Bain, basically Bain employee, and has worked in kind of scaling enterprises and scaling startups. Peter Hirschberg is our chairman of our advisors, and he was an executive at Apple for many years, and has deep connections in cities all over the world. And Troy Martin, who's our kind of chief operations officer and head of compliance, really working on making sure that the foundation has reasonable governance and full transparency on where funds are going and how we're developing our network. We have a great technological team. Eric Miller, who's an all-star coder here in Austin, and we're working with Decent Crypto, who's developed incredible amounts of smart contract technology. And we're just really excited. We have a ton of other blockchain partners as well. So we're working with Bancor, we're working with Autonomy, which is building device-level reputation. And we recently announced a partnership with RChain and Reflective Ventures to co-develop technology on the RChain blockchain platform, which is really exciting, and basically can bring us to the place where we need to be, where we can provide high-velocity transactions, edge-level information security, and a very robust, highly scalable infrastructure to be able to accomplish our goals. There's many more partnerships that they're all on the website, and we continue to forge new partnerships on a daily basis with impact funds and nonprofits, NGOs, other blockchain solutions, other blockchain projects that have shared missions to Swytch.
And is this mainly in the US, or are you looking to expand?
So we're actually set up as a Swiss foundation. We have a global footprint currently with our MOUs and pilots. So this is very much a global participation, global membership. The goal is to really help both emerging economies, developing countries, the global south, as well as current highly advanced kind of energy infrastructure groups and regions to really kind of do what they do in a much better way, more robust, highly scalable, more trusted way. So the short answer is that we are a global solution. We're looking at building global partnerships in every market that exists around energy.
Do you think it'll be a challenge for you to expand into other markets, especially underprivileged places like Africa?
Yeah, I think so. I think historically, there's been a lot of challenges associated with coming into markets and thinking they know, people in the U.S. or Silicon Valley or the UN know better than people who are already there and on the ground. I think a lot of people have done incredible work in the global south, in Africa and India, in very impoverished areas, but it's politically sensitive. It's sensitive for local, kind of indigenous people. It's very sensitive around, war-torn areas and areas that have high levels of civil unrest. And so we can't just march our way in there and put up a solar panel and think we're going to save the world. But we want to do it in a way where we engage the local communities, we engage the NGOs, the UN, the World Bank, places, people who have the desire to help. And really give them the tools necessary and the technology necessary to make their lives easier and really help people who might necessarily not need the help, but really could use the help. And so our ideology is associated with that is not so blind to think that we can just do everything and be everything to everyone. We want to help. We want to help enable people to kind of take control of their lives, give them access to clean, renewable energy, have them stop burning paper and kerosene. Sorry, there's a dog in this house here.
No problem.
Can't ever get any peace and quiet. But there's a lot to be done, and we want to start engaging local communities in the foundation. That's why we set ourselves up as a nonprofit, and it's probably one of the best ways that we can go about it is because there's no agenda. There's no hidden agenda from an enterprise perspective. We're not like IBM, where we're basically saying, okay, we want to own the tech. We want to own everything. It's not going to work.
Wonderful. Well, I think you're doing a great job, and it's really going to help, right? It's open to the public, right? You can also see, how we're all saving the planet with regards to carbon dioxide emissions, and I'm guessing other emissions as well.
Yeah, I think the goal is to really focus on creating a reference platform for us to be able to track and trace, verify, and reward pro-social behavior, and really one of our our entire test bed, our test cases around something that is hard to see, right? So carbon is very hard to see, but the impacts are immense, right? Over the next 10 or 20 years, it's an existential crisis that humanity is going to face around climate change, and extreme weather conditions, and we're already seeing it now. And really, we need to be able to take things that are hard to hold and hard to visualize, and be able to represent that in a digital asset. So from that perspective, all emissions, things around transportation, things around mobility, things around forestry and fishery management, we really do want to host the technology and the protocols for the reference platforms to be able to do that.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for making our world a better place. It was great talking with you, and really wish you all the best with the project. I'm sure that you guys are going to have a great future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan.